Hello, I'm Sister Gloria Marie Jones, and I'm a Dominican sister here at our mother house in Mission San Jose, California. Today, Michelle Pope and I are here to share with you the story of our journey, our shared faith journey in creating here at our mother house the ASEB Center for Memory Loss.
ASEB, Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay, is an organization specialized in the care and support of those living with memory decline. The mission of ASEB is to provide services to individuals with Alzheimer's disease and other related dementia, provide support to their caregivers, and educate and inform the general community about issues related to dementia care.
Yeah, so ASEB provides respite care, which means respite is we give our caregivers a time of rest. So our caregivers have very full lives as well. So a lot of people can't afford to have in-home care or hospice care, or be able to place their loved ones in nursing homes or facilities. So this ASEB provides a bit more of an affordable alternative to those cares. And a lot of what happens during the day is we try to engage people's minds, people's bodies, and their souls as well. So our participants are dropped off in the mornings. They are provided with a morning snack and breakfast. And then that's followed by a lot of activities that are designed by our life enrichment coordinators and executed by our program staff that range from arts and crafts. We have music, physical therapy, occupational therapy. We do have a registered nurse on staff at the facility who is monitoring all of our participants throughout the day.
The special thing about ASEB is that we get to provide respite for the families who are taking care of their loved ones on a full-time basis. So we give them a break, even 4-6 hours. We get to give the family some time to, unwind, relax, because it is hard taking care of the participants who have the diagnosis of dementia or Alzheimer's or any cognitive impairment.
ASEB provides services for individuals with dementia as well as for their families. It is an economical alternative to full-time residential or in-home care. It is committed to enabling individuals to remain at home for as long as possible and to avoid premature or inappropriate institutionalization. It currently has 3 state-licensed sites in Berkeley, Hayward, and its newest site in Fremont on the Mission San Jose campus.
We do have 3 locations, Berkeley, Hayward, and Fremont. Berkeley being our oldest facility, we are going into our 30th year there. Fremont is our newest facility. We've had the incredible blessing of partnering up with the Dominican Sisters and building up this new facility on the Dominican Sisters campus in Fremont, California.
In 2010, actually, we Dominican Sisters embarked on what became called our Bold Awakening, which was really an effort to look with new eyes and say, what is this moment inviting us to? And how can we look at our mother house and what the reality and the needs are of our sisters and honor those, and also how can we be of greater service to the wider community? And we had just come to the realization that this one building, Sienna, really was a lot of space that we probably really didn't need for ourselves, but how can we best use it? And it was at that magical moment that Michelle landed on our doorstep and said, we're looking for a site to serve and create, extend the Alzheimer's services of the East Bay ASEB into the further East Bay, into the Fremont area. And so it was a long journey of trying to determine, once we knew this was good, the process of identifying, okay, how do we do this the right way that honors both of our realities, that ensures clear communication, that will address all the financial and all of the legal issues.
The core values of the organization are to provide a safe, caring, and stimulating environment for our participants, and a source of respite and information for caregivers.
Some of the challenges that I face caring for the participants here, there's not too many. You just really have to, it just depends. You just have to know the participant, because each participant, they have their own personality, own ways of doing things. And if you just work with them, just go with the flow with how they go throughout their daily lives, then it just makes things a lot easier. You just can't force a participant to do something, because it just makes things harder.
ASEB provides a comprehensive range of services for families facing the challenge of dementia. They are adult day healthcare centers, an innovative early stage program for individuals and families challenged by Alzheimer's and related conditions, support groups for caregivers, family support program, workshop and public speaking engagements, community outreach programs, and information and referrals.
I'm a program specialist, so what that entails is we have activities that happen throughout the day, and so it's kind of my job to make sure that everything like that goes smoothly. So whatever we have planned for the day, whether it be exercise, games, if there's a band or some kind of musical entertainment coming, it's my job to make sure that everyone is engaged and that everyone is kind of where they want to be. I also help people in the restroom if they need it. So I'm kind of everywhere at once. I help with feeding people if they need it as well, with passing food out, drinks, cleaning up, kind of everything that happens on the floor is a little bit of my job.
I'm actually the second set of eyes with keeping them occupied. We have the LEC, which is the Life Enrichment Coordinator, kind of like an activity director. So that person, she or he is the primary person to keep the participants occupied. And if they need any help, then I'm there.
I've been to all the locations and see how the whole program works overall, and it's a well-oiled machine, I would say. Of course there's some turnover because that's what happens, but generally the people that are there are really caring, and people here where I work in this location in Fremont, they always ask me about how my mom's doing, because they know she was part of the program. And the people in the program, the nurses would call me, before she left. She would give me weekly updates about, what she needed, anything that I needed to do to assist them, and what they were doing for her on a weekly basis.
The goals of ASEB are to provide safe and caring support, to prevent premature or inappropriate institutionalization, to allow family members to continue to live at home for as long as possible, to help individuals maintain their highest possible physical and mental health, to offer extensive support to families and caregivers, to educate and inform the general community about issues related to dementia care.
So each facility has a different maximum number of people that they have. The Berkeley one, I believe we have 60. I'm not sure how many come here on a day-to-day basis, but Fridays, what I was told is Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays are usually a little slower, which is normal. Caregivers, sometimes they take Friday is off, so they spend time with their family members and everything like that. But a normal day it can be anywhere from 20 to almost 50 people, depending on the facility.
Currently on our roster, we have about 25 participants in total. But on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, there's usually about average 17 participants, and Tuesdays and Thursdays about 20, 25.
The cost for ASEB to provide adult day health care services is approximately $100 a day per client. Your cost may vary based on several factors. Please contact one of our social workers for more details on programs and presentations.
As much as we like, we cannot afford to, we can't accept every single person who would like to come through here. The beginning parts of our process is we have our caregivers and participants meet with our social workers, and they go through a few rounds of assessments. They meet with them 3 times to do a basic interview to see what kind of care our caregivers are looking for, to see how far along their loved one is with whatever form of dementia they're being challenged with.
Alzheimer bears its name after German psychiatrist Alois Alzheimer, who discovered the pathological condition of dementia and diagnosed the disease. Alzheimer's begins slowly. It first involves the parts of the brain that control thought, memory, and language. Eventually, they need total care. This can cause great stress for family members who must care for them. AD usually begins after the age of 60. The risk goes up as you get older. Your risk is also higher if a family member has had the disease. No treatment can stop the disease. However, some drugs may help keep symptoms from getting worse for a limited time.
It requires a lot of care, a lot of patience, a lot of time and support from our participants, caregivers, loved ones, families. Simple things. Some of our participants who are a bit further on in the disease or have, lived with their dementia for much longer have very impaired cognitive effects. A lot of their motor skills are affected. So simple things that we take for granted, like using the restroom or dressing yourself or even feeding yourself, is a constant challenge. So, a lot of times caregivers, family members, our staff become the arms, legs of our participants. So it does take an enormous amount of support.
The symptoms of dementia, they start off with, losing their short-term memory, like forgetting where their keys are, driving somewhere and they forget where they're going, things like that.
Although memory loss is the most widely known symptom of Alzheimer's, dementia is the decline of all intellectual functioning, which can include learning, judgment, language skills, and eventually physical decline. It is the medical term for the loss of intellectual functioning, characterized by loss of memory, cognitive functions, and judgment. Alzheimer's disease is the #1 cause of dementia. Other dementing illnesses include Huntington's, Parkinson's, and AIDS-related dementia, and Pick's disease. Today, approximately 5 million people in the United States alone have Alzheimer's disease. It is the 4th leading cause of death for adults. Keeping a person with Alzheimer's active and stimulated is one of the biggest tasks for a caregiver. Without a caregiver's intervention, an Alzheimer's patient can get depressed or isolated easily. Some of this is the function of the disease process itself, but some of it stems from a deep sense of loss.
Because it is a very hard disease, and it affects not just the person that has it, but it affects the entire family, friends, work, wherever they are, it makes it very difficult. And so you have to be, I feel, open, because things could change so quickly. Their level could deteriorate, or they could stay the same level for a number of years. So as long as you're patient with them and just understand that they're struggling too, you know, this is something new for them that they have to come to terms with, and they need a support system as well to help them through it. And it just makes it a lot easier, I feel, for everyone if you're very open and patient and you understand that things change, and just to go with the flow and make it as easy as a transition as possible.
Because if one person in the family has dementia, then everyone has to be a team and work together to help that participant or that family member, you know.
People with dementia get confused very easily and often mistake one person for another. Here at Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay, we find it best to respond to odd questions or statements by trying to discern the emotion underneath. At ASEB, our trained staff are very gentle, patient, and creative in helping our participants, yet they also know that a technique that worked in the morning may not work at night.
I love hearing their stories. The population, the elderly population, you know, they have so many experiences, so many things they've done throughout their lives, and I just love hearing their stories and just listening to what they've been through, and it's like a history lesson sometimes too. You know, they've been through a lot, and another joy is when I'm able to put a smile on their face, like if I made their day, anything like that.
Working with Alzheimer's means always looking for clues and constantly adjusting your approach. The patient can't change, so the staff member has to. At ASEB, we strongly believe that there is life after diagnosis. When a caregiver learns to take each moment as it comes and accept who their loved one is now, there can be moments full of love, laughter, and fun.
The hardest to me is when someone passes away, and that actually, oh goodness. When I worked at ASEB in the past, we had a beautiful woman named Cowgirl. I'm so sorry. And she was just amazing. She'd come in every day just so happy, and she'd have these little tassels on her hat and just the most vibrant colors, and she'd always, you know, shake. And I left for the Army, so I didn't get to see her for a while, and unfortunately she passed right before I started working at ASEB again. So I wasn't able to see her, and it was just, it was really hard because she was just such a happy woman. And it just, you know, if things were maybe having a bad day, you know, you could just talk to her and she would just cheer you right up and sing and dance, and just so amazing. So that's a challenge for me, is I hate to ask, where's this person, where's that person, because I like to believe that they're still around, just not visiting with us. So that's the hardest for me.
We do have some participants, family members that drop off and pick up their loved ones here, and you know, it's really nice to see the family members show their appreciation to the staff. You know, every time they come pick them up, they always say thank you, and with a smile on their face, like you could tell that they got some rest, or they're able to do something, because I know when they're taking care of their loved one at home, they're occupied, they don't have much free time. So just seeing that appreciation, that happiness is really great, you know.
People with Alzheimer's disease may not be exactly the people they were before the disease, but they are indeed people with emotions, interests, and personality.
A helpful tip, if you're taking care of a loved one or a person with Alzheimer's or any type of dementia, just be patient. You know, it is hard at times, but once you get to know the person, you'll be able to work and see how they are, and it will make things a lot easier. Another tip is if you find yourself stressed, you know, feeling very tired, there's outlets. There's programs like ASEB that can provide help, a form of respite, you know, to the family members. And another tip is, if you see any signs of you know, memory loss, any short-term memory loss, it's good to see your physician or primary care physician as soon as possible. And also it's not too late. Also, if you notice it, just get checked as soon as you can.
Patience and talking to people who've been in this situation before, because people always said to me, one piece of advice that people always gave me is that you have to take care of yourself first before you can care for other people. And that's one thing that I always try to do, is because I realize that the most important thing here is her. So if I'm not fit, I can't take care of her. So that's the thing that I always carried with me, and that's what I would tell other people, is that you have to take care of yourself in order to take care of someone else.
You have to take it every day as a blessing that they're still with us and that they're still able to receive your love and care. And if things do get hard, you know, maybe take a break, you know, because we don't want anyone to react negatively, you know. So if you're feeling stressful, which it happens to everyone, you know, just maybe take a step back and, you know, so you can calm down and then come back anew.
Alzheimer's disease is not a preventable condition. However, a number of lifestyle risk factors for Alzheimer's can be modified. Evidence suggests that changes in diet, exercise, and habits, steps to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, may also lower your risk of developing Alzheimer's disease and other disorders that cause dementia.
Being here, it's taught me a lot, not just from everything from seeing our participants to our staff to my colleagues in administration. I've learned a great deal of patience. I've learned a great deal of resourcefulness. I've learned how resilient the human spirit can be. I've learned how strong a human being can be. I've learned how much love and duty and patience and energy and time people can give each other. Through examples given by our participants, their caregivers, our staff, our admin team. I've learned a lot of new ways, a lot of new definitions and examples of what love is, through service, through action, through giving, generosity, and selflessness.
We began a journey together that has come to fruition.
Yes.
That I think about the sowing of the seeds and the seeds that have been sown here on the Dominican Center campus, and the friendship that has developed between you and I. So what a journey.
Yeah, and it was a journey that was so focused on how can we unite our worlds of faith and health and really let this unity and this new creation be of service to God's people.
And I believe trust. You know, you take faith-based and you take a nonprofit that wants to do something great in the community, but sometimes we have misunderstandings, and sometimes our faith does not always give us the grace that we think we have. But both you and I were leaders of the hope, and leaders of the faith, and leaders of the grace, and leaders of the trust, and yeah, so it started that way.
you, Michelle, brought such experience and creativity to the creation of the space. We had the building, but the building had to be changed. It had to be renovated in order to support the services that needed to happen. And that took a lot of collaboration. The clarity of shared values and vision is really critical when you embark on this kind of project. And then the ability, putting in place the supports that will ensure consistent and clear communication, and the flexibility to adjust to the unexpected or the challenges we just never dreamt, as well as the patience. The patience to allow it to unfold with, as you said, with trust, knowing this is bigger than ourselves. And keeping focused. I think what really helped us was keeping focused on this is to be of service to the wider community.